got lots of information and visa updates, so let's get into it.
All right, we are here at JRC Visa Consultancy and Immigration Services in Cebu City, and we're going to be covering a lot of topics today, so stick with us if you can. JRC has offices here in Cebu City,
Yes, right.
across from Ayala Mall, in Dumaguete, right next to Immigration in Dumaguete, and in Manila.
Yes.
Which is good because there's some issues that need to be processed, can only be processed in Manila.
In Manila.
And because he has an office there, he can expedite things through that Manila office. Anyway, I wanted to start off. 6 months ago, a year ago, there was a lot of talk on all the blogs and everything that there were going to be new classifications for visas. And everybody was getting all nervous about it. You know, what's that going to mean? How is it going to affect us? And anyway, I think there's an election coming up in May.
Yes.
And what I've heard is that if that's not passed by the election time, it all starts over again.
Yeah.
So at the present time, there are no new classifications. But you mentioned that in some overseas consulates,
Philippine consulates,
they are actually using some of that type of thing.
That is actually based on what I have noticed with our clients who have actually applied the Philippine Visa prior entry to the Philippines, because they have already the reclassification or expounding the tourist visa into, like before it's 9A, now it's 9A2, 9A1, and A3, so on and so forth. Like it will be for leisure, it will be for business, and so on with other categories. So that's what I saw. But right now, you're correct, because upon talking to our lawyer during our conversation, I have actually asked him, because he is more well versed in terms of passing in such law, because it will actually it should be approved within the specific Congress. So Congress here would be comprising between the lower house and the upper house. So there would be relatively a change, that it will be passed as a bill again, and it will be approved again in Congress, and then it should be approved also with the Senate, and then the BICAM, and also for it to be officially a law in the Philippines for that aspect.
Okay. All right. And you handle everything. You handle the tourist extensions.
Yes, correct.
You handle the SRRV, which is the retirement visa.
Yes.
We'll talk a little more about that. The business visas.
Yeah, the investor's visa. That's also another option, and there's also one emerging visa right now, which is also under the special visa, was what we call the FIV, the Freeport of Bataan Investors Visa. So that could be a thing that can be considered also for those younger foreigners who wanted to relocate and be here in the Philippines, and might as well also forming part of your exclusion and exemptions in the AAP, which is the Department of Labor, if you wanted to do business here in the Philippines. That could be one of the things that we can actually talk about today.
You know, I've heard about that, but I don't know very much about it. Do you think that will be expanded? Because Freeport is up by Subic, right?
In Bataan, the Subic is actually on the upper part.
Okay.
If you go all the way south,
Okay.
on the western side of the Philippines, in the west coast, that would be the area of Bataan.
Closer to Manila.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wherein it has access from Manila Bay going to that by a boat.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of the options as well.
All right. Do you think that will be expanded?
Yeah.
You got your crystal ball? Can you tell us?
Actually, I have been into the area. I have talked to the office because we need to check, and we need to do some due diligence for that before we actually give out some information. Because the challenge right now is there's a lot of people right now, especially they wanted to blog or wanted to give information, but at the end of the day, their information might be limited only in what they see and what they have researched in the internet. But what is happening on the ground is totally different as well. Like one point of consideration, I have heard that that particular visa, based on what they say, it offers citizenship, which is basically not.
Okay.
So, and also how it will be invested. how long it will be, how long the processing is. But normally what really caught my attention is there's a certain clause that they actually advertise, or they give out information that it's a pathway to your citizenship, in which I have verified and sit down to that appropriate office that they wanted to reach out, that those people who actually disseminate that information, because they wanted to correct that information.
Okay. And then, and then the 13A, the spousal visa, the
Spousal visa.
the marriage visa, all that type of thing.
Correct, yes.
Now, how much of this information, if they're still in the USA or Australia, whatever, can they start processing a lot of this stuff from their home country?
Which visa are you referring?
Well,
Because we mentioned a few.
go down the list. Well, let's start with it's SRRV, because that's especially good for military, retired military.
Yes.
And USA, and my understanding for a few years was, I thought it was just USA, but it applies to other countries as well.
Yes,
apparently.
it applies to the countries that has a good diplomatic relationship with the Philippines.
Okay.
So they open up that privilege as well. Because way back 1984, when the retirement visa or the retirement office was being established, that time that there's really a very good relationship between the US and the Philippines. So that's the reason why they started with that and offered that to the military servicemen from the US. However, when the days goes by or the years goes by, they have expanded that to countries that has a very good diplomatic relationship with the Philippines.
Like Australia,
Australia's
New
one.
Zealand.
Yes.
Um,
That is still subject. Like what we can do is to do the pre-approval.
okay,
Because sometimes it may change, probably like they might have differences along the way and they have recent changes. We'll never know. But to be safe, we can actually we can pre-evaluate, and then we will ask a pre-approval from the retirement office, and if they say it's a go, then we'll proceed with the application.
Okay. And pre-approval, does that start with a consulting with you?
Yes.
Like a phone consultation, something like
Yeah,
that?
phone consultation, online meeting, conference call, that would work. Especially if they wanted to prepare it ahead before they come here. And I think we have also talked with this before shooting this video is, can they prepare something, or can they start their paperwork before they come here? Yes, definitely. In the likes of the DD-214 for the military servicemen, the proof of pension, and the proof of no criminal record. And right now, it is also one of the requirements of the retirement office, because before, there's an option from the county, state, or FBI. Right now, we encourage the new applicants to do an FBI search of no criminal record, because it will actually cover the entire United States, and for you to have a clean criminal record check, because it actually covers wider area, because there have been changes right now in terms of regulations, small changes. But at the end of the day, I just wanted you to be on the loop of that, to really take a look at the FBI rather than the state, because according to the retirement office, there might be cases that cannot be seen in the state or county that can be seen in the FBI, which makes a lot of sense. And a part of those documents for speaking of the retirement visa, you also, your new subscribers, and then probably your subscribers as well, needs to be reminded that these foreign documents to be acceptable in the Philippines should be authenticated or apostilled. So apostille is a process of authenticating a foreign document to be acceptable in the Philippines or in other countries that is been a member of that apostille Hague Convention. So that's one. And also, sending the visa deposit via inwardly remitted funds is also something that they can do while they are still in the States, because there might be banks, their banks might not allow them to send money overseas or outside the US if they're already in the Philippines. It depends really how you deal with your banks, but we have encountered that problem before, and we advise our clients, okay, our option is really to do this and go back to your country, and then talk to your bank and have it wired in the Philippine bank, which is accredited with the retirement office.
Yeah, and that's expensive. If you come here and then you say, "Geez, I think I'll get this visa," and then you don't have the documents. You've got to go back to the U.S.,
Correct,
fly back there.
Yeah.
You spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
That's a lot.
To do that, to get some paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I talked to JR ahead of time, and if there's any possibility that you might be interested in any of this stuff, and so you can prepare, be ready. And all right, and just out of curiosity, well, let's cover a little more. The SRRV that we've talked about, the military gets a super deal.
Mm-hmm.
They get what, 2,000? No,
$1,500 US
Yeah.
visa deposit from 2010 to 1,500.
mm-hmm.
That's really a great deal.
Yeah, only
for
you have to
these people.
deposit 1,500 for that.
Yes.
And then there are other fees, of course, to
The
process.
fees for the one-time application would be 1,400. That's one-time application fee, and the recurring fee is $10.
Oh, okay.
Instead of the regular category would require you to have, let's just say for example, classic without pension.
Mhm.
That's $20,000 US visa deposit. Application fee would be $1,760, and then recurring fee every year for the ID renewal is $360.
Mhm.
That's for the regular category. If we're gonna talk about the special category with this applicant that has US military service, that's 1,500 visa deposit compared to 20, and then one-time application fee 1,400 compared to 1,760. Recurring fee on a yearly basis 360 versus $10.
Oh.
That's a
Yeah.
big savings.
And then if you're not military, you're over 50,
Mhm.
then you just have to prove you have an income of relatively small amount.
Mhm.
I don't remember what it is.
That's actually the categories in between, because from $20,000 US, if you can provide a proof of pension that you're receiving at least $800 US
Yeah, yeah.
a month, and you already started to receive it before the application, the visa deposit will actually go down to $10,000 US.
10,000, yeah.
The one-time application fee is the same, $1,760 US, and then recurring fee would be $360. So those are the basic one. General, mid, and the military category.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds confusing. I occasionally
It's not.
get, no, it's relatively simple. And I've seen you bring these guys, and you get done in a day. What I've had friends and subscribers tell me, I did it myself, and you can do it yourself.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm the type of person that likes to do things myself, but not this.
Up to
I
some
don't.
up to some extent.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I've seen you guys get it done in a day. The background check, what do they call it here?
NBI.
NBI.
Mhm.
It's like the FBI.
Yes.
They just do
Nationwide search.
Yeah, nationwide search.
Yeah.
And the medical.
Yep.
And yeah, you just in and out of these places because they know you guys, they deal with you guys. You know, they know you, you know them, you know the language. Rather than take a number and sit here, until you're called an hour later, type thing. So yeah, if you think ahead and plan ahead and use somebody like JR, and this is an unpaid advertisement. But yeah, he can expedite it, get you through, and it's not that difficult. But a lot of us don't want to do it. I don't want to work on my car. I can do some things. I don't want to paint my house, even or plumb it. I'll pay somebody else to do it.
It's a matter of how they value their time. I mean,
yeah.
some would say, like, Jerry, I have a lot of time. That's fine. Based on our personal experience, we actually apply for a visa for a specific country. For the first time, we also have the same mindset. We would like to do it on our own, but the time is like, okay, hey. And the second time that we go there, then we actually just hired an agency going outside the Philippines because it's really convenient for us. And it's a matter of really how we value our time, because at the end of the day, life is too short, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You just need to live it every inch of an hour.
Yeah. And then the 13A, the spousal, the marriage visa as well.
Yeah.
You process that. How long does it usually take by the time from you start? You get married, right? You get married. That's one thing
That's
you
the
got.
prerequisite.
And it's not like in America you just go get married. There's steps you have to take, and that depends upon what province, what barangay you're in, right?
Yeah.
Each one might have. I was reading that that one barangay might require you to get the embassy to verify that I'm divorced, something like that.
Legal capacity to enter marriage.
Yeah, and other barangays just get a lawyer to notarize it or something like that.
I think that was actually for the US. We have encountered that during pandemic they wanted to do some to ease the burden of processing it. They have certainly allowed it for quite some time, but right now you need to go back to there to have it really authenticate or have that issued, the legal capacity to enter marriage. And yeah, you're true. You're correct, because getting married has a prerequisite or requirements that you need to do for the paperwork before you get married, like marriage license. Marriage license is a prerequisite to get married in the Philippines, and before you can actually have the marriage license, you need to go through a seminar, you need to supply this paperwork, you need to apply from the PSA a CINOMAR, certificate of no marriage, and then that's what forming part of your paperwork, and then there's another requirement for the interview, and so on and so forth. So before you have the license, and then you get married.
Well, you know what's funny? I got married in 1973, shortly after getting out of college. I just put an age on myself. But I had to go. If we got married in a church, and the church wouldn't marry us unless we went through some kind of seminar meeting and talked to the minister.
I think more or less similar here.
Yeah,
the procedure. And yeah, when you talk about the spousal visa, and once you get married, registering that marriage to the civil registry where you get married, or then that's the first step, because when during the marriage rites you actually sign the marriage contract. You need to have it registered in the civil registry, and then that civil registry on that particular local government unit, which has a portion of the jurisdiction for the entire Philippines, will forward that to the PSA, which actually maintains all the records in the entire Philippines, which is the Philippine Statistics Authority.
Now, do you help with all of that too?
Yeah, we can help with that.
Okay.
Especially on this side, because normally the transition of the endorsement of the civil registry going to the PSA would normally have that available between 6 months to 8 months, or even 1 year. And however, we advise our clients to have it electronically endorsed so that it will be recorded faster to the PSA office. Roughly, it will be available 1 to 2 months once they did the electronically endorsement.
That has to be done before you can apply for the 13A.
Yes, that has to be done.
Okay.
Because the PSA marriage certificate is one of the requirement or the paperwork that needs to be submitted to the Bureau of Immigration to as a proof of your marriage here in the Philippines, and also marriage to a Filipino citizen, which is the petitioner of your spousal or marriage visa.
So how much time does it take after, if you're married, you've got to that point and it's got through the PSA to actually get the 13A processed?
Let's put it in tranches. Like after you have the PSA marriage certificate granting that it's already electronically endorsed, your PSA marriage certificate is available. 1 month preparation and completion of your paperwork, and then lodging it to the Bureau of Immigration. It will take more or less 4 to 6 months to fully complete the process.
Okay.
That's on the probationary stage. And then the application process would pass through 3 major stages. Number 1, the approval, and then after the approval of your visa, it should be implemented. That is where the stamp on your passport will be indicated there and signed that you're already on this marriage visa. And then after the implementation of the approved visa, then the issuance of your ACRI card. So sometimes it would vary depending on where did you file it. If you file it in Manila, you could save 1 to 2 months because the approval is in Manila. It's still centralized as of the time being.
And you can do that because you have an office up there. You can process it
Yes,
through Manila
directly
to save that time.
Yeah. And one thing also for the spousal visa, interview is up. So there is a visa interview before they before they proceed with the application. Upon filing it, a week or 2, or probably around most of the time a week, they will be scheduled to have the visa interview for the immigration officer to validate your visa application.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
A question I often get, regularly get, over the years is I've overstayed. I've overstayed, or a girl will comment.
There's still?
My boyfriend or my husband has overstayed X number of months or years. What can I do? And that's
Resolve it.
We've talked a little bit about motion for reconsideration, but can you kind of talk a little bit about that overstaying and motion for reconsideration and
Okay.
the process?
One way for them to resolve their overstay is to file the motion for reconsideration so that they can fix their immigration overstay. Like if, let's put it this way, within less than 6 months, within 36 months, in not passing through the maximum 36 months, but they missed to extend their visas for whatever reason for less than 6 months, they can actually go to immigration or have it processed by someone and then have it updated with penalties. Beyond 6 months, within the 36 months, they will now be required to file a motion for reconsideration. The more that they have if they have surpassed the 36 months or maximum allowable stay, they need to file the motion for reconsideration right now, with citing the situation and the grounds that immigration will consider your request, because this is an appeal. Like, okay, if you have been financially troubled, whatever reason is that you're sick, and also you have been into this situation, you need to have that one written down, because it will be evaluated not just by an ordinary immigration officer, and it will go through also with the immigration lawyers before the commissioner will be approving it.
All right. And there again, we can fill out that form.
Yeah.
But you have the experience. You know what type of answers they're looking for, and that type of thing. Just a quick funny story. When I was a kid, my father belonged to the county political group, and they applied for government grants, not loans, but grants. Government gives them to fix roads and do that type of thing, and they kept getting declined. Then they finally they paid a consultant, and consultants like you, you know how to fill the forms out, right? Approved first time. So you can save yourself a lot of time and misery by using somebody like JR anyway.
And also, it will be the cooperation also of the subject, which is the applicant itself, is also a very important factor, because without him disclosing everything that is happening, we cannot actually draw what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that's
narrow it down to the important things.
Yes.
Rather than writing a book about this is
multiple pages about it.
right.
This is not going well. This is going okay. This is what we're gonna write it down, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Which brings me to another point. We've talked about it. It's been in the news, and people are getting all nervous about it. The immigration officers, when you go to renew your tourist visa, questioning you, why are you here? Why aren't you on a different visa? And there's a lot of people nervous about that. I've gone to different forums and stuff, and you get different answers. Different people have different experiences
and opinions.
Yeah. What is your experience and opinion?
You just need to be really going to what's your purpose of staying here in the Philippines. So when you decide that you're a tourist and you cannot just afford it, and you're just gonna stay and do the 36 months and you'll be on tourist visa, I think that would be fine. Because what immigration, and I think it's not just the Philippine immigration, it's also true to other countries. Like, you really need to figure out the people or the foreigners who actually wanted to be in the country, to be also blend well, and also wanted to really stay here peacefully. Because otherwise, if there would be a threat to the national security, as what is happening to the latest bloggers that has been harassing people in BGC, they would definitely be really kicked out of the country. And also, it's the same thing. As a Filipinos, we actually go to other countries. We also make sure that we abide the laws of that particular country. And you citing that you're here to retire and you're still considering, you're testing the waters, and that's already a valid reason.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna be doing some other things, then that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
You can be declined to have your extensions.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen early on, before I met you, when I was doing my own extensions, just, I would only be at the immigration office for an hour, 2 hours at the most, 4 hours one time, I think. And just in that little time, I've saw 2 people denied.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, why did you deny? No answer. They won't tell you, but you've got to get out of the country.
Yeah.
And very likely the one guy in particular didn't look like he had much money just based on how he was dressed. And so he's probably still here. He's probably overstayed 9 years.
9 years is a lot.
Unless they caught him, and deported him, something like that.
Yeah, it's immigration overstaying is really a very what do you call that? It's a very heavy violation, and it can be a ground for you to be deported and blacklisted in the country.
Yeah.
So that's one. It's overstaying. It's not just here in the Philippines, but I think it's also the same is true in other countries.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I met an American girl years ago, and she had gone to Australia on a tourist visa, something like that, and fell in love. Never returned to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
They found her, kicked her out, and blacklisted her. So.
Yeah, it's really another situation that you need. Our foreign friends should not be in that situation because it's not really a good
No. Yeah, I think what happens a lot of times, maybe a guy I've almost forgotten a couple times, and went there on the very last day. But they run out of money.
Mm-hmm.
They run out of money,
Oh.
and so they don't have money to go home, and so they just stay, right? And think, well, maybe I can get by. Nobody ever asked me for my visa.
Maybe up to some point, but not
Yeah,
for
up
a
to a
long
point.
time.
Up to a point.
Yeah.
So anyway, is anything else that you want to cover?
I think one of the reminders also that I can also be sharing with your subscribers is recently there are findings already from the anti-fraud unit of the Bureau of Immigration for some documents that has been counterfeit documents. So be very careful of that, like the PSA and IDs. Make sure that you have validated or you have the latest IDs with you, like the driver's license, even the ACR right now, there are already counterfeits for that. And just be careful because that might be circulating right now, and if you would be caught on that, then that would be one of the reasons for you to be denied with a visa application. So that's one. And I think that would be for the visa visa side. Yeah, for the other side, we have already also launched our relaunch our real estate consulting, basically focusing on the documentation side, because it hurts me the most when you have a good intention to buy properties or land to your other half, and you are stuck with the documentation. Like I heard and I have encountered during our consultation that people are actually buying lands already and they have not seen even the documents.
Contact details for JRC will be in the description of the video. Also, this is getting a little long. We had a nice long discussion about real estate documents and problems that you might have purchasing condominium or land with your girlfriend or spouse here in the Philippines. And I will do here in the next couple of days, I will put that real estate document video up as well. Good discussion. Anyway, thank you for watching. Looking forward to any comments. And if you're traveling, safe travels to you all, and we'll see you in the next video.